things, I don't remember places, I remember people.
Mhm.
And I will see people and just, now, like, just in various places, and it's like, I know you. I know you. Even if it's not the same person in my mind, I know that that is that person.
Right.
And, it's weird to come upon somebody that you knew, like, way far back, and sometimes they recognize too. It's like we find our tribes, you know? So, yeah.
I have published undeniable proof of past lives in my live stream books. Once Upon a Live Stream Dream and Live Stream Dreams Awakened. I have 6 forms of evidence, 3 objective, 3 subjective. The facial appearance, the personality, the birth chart comparisons are the objective ones. The subjective are intuition, pendulum, and psychic confirmations. Should hold up in court any day, any time. And there's constant confirmations of my personal past lives in the fairy kingdom and in the royal role that are also going to be further discussed in my talk on Saturday. And it's a full color slideshow, but there are physical symptoms of these past lives. I have a bump on my collarbone, and in my past life, I fell off my horse onto a cobblestone street and hit my collarbone. So those injuries keep going lifetime to lifetime. And certain birthmarks in certain places show where I was raped. And those are also physical evidence of past lives.
I believe in that. I've heard that the birthmarks a lot of the times are often representations of maybe how you were harmed in a past life.
Exactly.
I have one.
You do? You have one on your...
I have moles on my neck, so that's supposed to mean you were hanged and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like I am now, that back then, I'm sure I was.
I've definitely been told that things did not end well for me.
Yeah.
A friend kind of caught a glimpse of a past life where we knew each other, and I think she said felt like ancient, like Greece or somewhere like that. And she's like, "You were an oracle. I was an oracle, and you talked about what you were seeing in the future, and that was not popular, and it did not end well." So.
One thing that I thought a couple days ago, and I thought of it when Autumn was talking about having a dispute with siblings in a past life, was just how I don't remember the minutia of past lives and having, siblings or different spouses and things like that. And of course they say one of the reasons why you have the amnesia between is so you just kind of have a fresh start, fresh experience. And even just going through a life change right now, I can see how important that is. I can appreciate it because I want to go into this new life, but there's so much of like the old that's still, you're in transition. So it's like you're operating by 2 sets of laws in your mind, trying to let go of this one so you can fully embrace this one. But it's interesting to me that there's all these relationships and experiences that I've had with other people, like brothers and sisters that are not in this scenario I'm playing right now. And I don't even miss them because I'm not conscious enough to really know about them. Yeah.
I think in general, it's kind of by design that we don't remember, because I think that would be, in some ways, more difficult. Yeah, of like.
I've heard it both ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're awakening up, and soon you'll kind of, like some other higher dimensional beings can like think back pretty clearly 3 or 4, and there's value in that because then you can sometimes learn faster. It's like, all right, I'm conscious that I already made that mistake. I'm not going to keep cycling.
Right.
But then there's the fresh start argument of just like, well, I want to be totally clear and fresh in this one. So yeah, I've heard it said I've heard the pros and cons both ways
Yeah,
kind of
that's
it.
true,
And then
that's true.
also, you know, we're gonna probably have both of those experiences that
Right.
as you awaken, you might, and you go to QHHTs and other things, get other information cognitively, and then you process it and you start feeling it, dreaming about it, and pulling it into a real life experience and saying, I didn't just kind of experience it, now I'm starting to really embody it, and now you're a multitude of people living this experience, but with kind of some superpowers from other life lessons learned.
Yeah, it's your choice, your free will, but Peter Woodbury of the Association for Research and Enlightenment, Edgar Cayce's Institute in Virginia Beach, which you were just at, says that in order to get the inner guidance, it is very helpful to have these regression sessions as well as dream study, prayer, and meditation. Those 4 things he highly recommends, and that's published on our website.
And Rachel, where can we buy your book? Can you tell us your full name and where we can find your book?
Okay, my pen name is R.L. Cook, like Rachel Lynette Cook, here at Glow Healing Arts Special Gift Shop. Once Upon a Life Stream Dream is the first in the series, and the sequel is Life Stream Dreams Awakened.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
One of the things, if you want that knowledge, all you have to do is ask for it. I've called in all my past lives, okay? And some of them are here now as my spirit guides, okay? And I have the knowledge of all the past lessons I've learned. I now have to access that knowledge. I've accumulated that because I asked the universe for it. Same thing. I want to start from scratch, man. That's bullshit. I've done this shit before, man.
Fresh start bullshit.
Yeah, I got a fresh start, man. I want a head start on
Which
this.
argument do you prefer?
Yeah.
This one?
Exactly, no bullshit one.
So all you have to do is ask, and the universe will deliver them to you.
Yeah, it's always good to remember to ask, because then it's like, well, duh, yeah, I should ask, and then.
Well, then I did ask, but then.
But yeah, you gotta keep asking, just
You
really
go
go for
for
it.
it.
You'll get it.
You
You'll
do,
open up.
but be careful what you ask for sometimes.
Right, okay.
Because it can
Shoot,
go
man,
wrong.
now you're scaring me.
But
Yeah,
that's-
yeah.
It's just like anything else, you know, you decide what you want to bring in and what you don't want to bring in, especially if it's something that doesn't resonate with you. But, you know, it's all possible. You know, I've known I've been hung, shot, stabbed, poisoned in past lives. Not every life has ended tragically like that for me. You know, I think there's been some good lives in there. I've met people that I know in this life, in those lives.
You reminded me of like Indiana Jones 4 where the Russian lady's like, I wanna know it all! And then all of a sudden she just like practically blows up and goes crazy. So you gotta be careful what you ask for. Right?
Well, it very much is, but it's all cumulative, you know, because in the cycle of life, it very much did begin off where, just like in grade school, you're kind of thrust into classes so that you can see the entirety of everything and experience. And the more elevated, the further along you're going, you know, you say you have learned these lessons, but then you come back in another form, and if you truly know it, you don't really go through it as much. So we're going to keep going through those things until we've mastered it. But it's not God that put us there. It's not, you know what I'm saying, somebody else. It's not a situation. It's us who put us there, you know. And
Exactly.
you know, so like we have to call on it, but even calling on it, knowing the answer does not mean that you're going to be able to move forward with the answer, you know. And that's where like Christ and Buddha came, and you know, because they said no matter what you think or no matter what you feel, and I know that the world around you is going to be this way, you actively have a choice, you know. You can pick up arms and do things that way, or you can change the world, you know what I'm saying, in a positive way, in another manner. And then Jesus' iteration, it took another 500 years for Rome to fall, but Jesus was the beginning of the annihilation of a gigantic empire that ran the globe.
Exactly.
One man and an idea, you know, that embodied a religion, you know, very much like the same thing that Buddha was saying, is that we all have access to that. And even once we receive that enlightenment, it's then by coming back and passing that on to other people. So we're here either giving that lesson or we're learning that lesson. And those are,
Yes.
you know, often our emotions are like where we, so like when we're conflicted with these things and moving forward, either a chance for us to be the teacher for someone else, or to be humbled by the fact that we don't know this lesson nearly as well that we think we do, you know, especially when we can consciously say, well, I know that this has happened because it happened in this life, this life, this life, and this life. And so all of these experiences brought me here to say, maybe it's scary to jump, but why don't you, you know, jump this time instead of, you know, letting that, you know, continue on enough in life that you have now had to go through 6, that this is still a problem for you, you know, and
Exactly.
you say, I know this, and then now you're given another chance, and it's never easy, but like each lifetime has been more of that. Like somebody posted this morning on Instagram that actually said, like, when this old life finished falling apart, I can't wait for my new life to fall apart, something along those lines, you know. And that really is kind of like a whole process, you know, because Christianity, Buddhism, all these things teach about the beauty of everything, but the non-attachment to that, you know, no matter what life cycle, no matter what. And, you know, you talk about Edgar Cayce, you know, and through his story, he talks about, you know, being some pretty great and important things, but this life was not a manifestation of, look who great I was in the last life. I could tell everybody their entire future, and whatever iteration you're in, you might be so far removed from having connection to that medium anymore, you know, or it might
rest
be
on your past laurels, in other words.
in another era. Yeah, because we were talking last week about the fact that time is not really linear anyway, you know, so you could be existing in 3035 in one life, and then in 1219 AD in another life, and then, you know, this life for another one. It depends on, just like anybody else. Like if you want to learn how to cook, you know, you might go look up different cooking schools, and then you try this one and they're not good enough. I'll try this one. Maybe I want to learn more. I'll go to this one now, get a master's for this and this and this and this. So
It depends on your point of attention or attenuation. Those are very similar terms. Attenuate, attenuation, attention, your frequency and the amplitude are what energy really is. There is no real difference between energy and matter. We're all spinning electrons, and energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. It's omnipresent.
I think too, when Jesse was talking, there's a scary frame of reincarnation, and there's one that's more empowering. The scary one is that I get through my life, and if I make a lot of mistakes, I'm doomed to just like, you die and then you wake up again as a baby immediately, and you relive all this pain. Just it's kind of like that life is just endless suffering. The interlife type of thing is more empowering, where you die and it's like you come to your soul family and they say, all right, so you chose this and we all worked out this plan, you did it, here's where you learned, and here's where you kind of pulled back, and now choice is yours again. Do you want to just chill here, or do you want to like go in? And you know, like with Dr. Newton, his stuff with his work about the interlife stuff, it looks like, again, that's where I've loved to see the free will versus predestination. The free will is almost to me like that in between life space where you say, as the higher self thinking, like, this is what I want to do, so I've decided this is the plan. But then when you go into the video game, you feel a little bit predestined, because you try to go this way and hit a wall, and you go this way and you're like, hey, just ask. Well, I asked and I can't get through the wall and it's not working, so I feel like a slave of the matrix. But so that's where you feel a bit of like the puppet, but like both are going on in a scalar sense in two different realms. But the fact that you can make the decision of what you're gonna do, how long you're gonna chill, how much you want to learn, then that feels like an empowering way to cast it in another model, where you just have the one life to live in a Christian model, and then you die and it's heaven forever. If someone thinks too deeply about that, then they get to that conclusion, well, heaven would be boring, wouldn't it? Because at some point, if you were there, like, wouldn't you decide to do something cool and adventurous, like throw yourself back in a matrix and have an experience? Well, there you go with reincarnation. So it's like back and forth.
Those two books, the Michael Newton books, those have been amazing for my life. If you all haven't read them, I definitely recommend them.
Michael Newton.
Yeah, Michael Newton. What is it called again?
Journey of the Soul, Destiny of Souls. He's got like 3 books that he wrote, and then maybe his disciples after he passed away in the last decade or two.
Stories into books. He compiles his his
Yeah.
clients, their stories, their experiences.
Transcriptions of life
Yeah.
between the hypnosis sessions and guiding people to the conversations they're having with their soul families, and then he's fairly categorical and scientific, so he starts explaining all sorts of different topics in there. It's not just a bunch of stories, but he's like, this chapter is about how a soul progresses over time. This chapter is about all these different cool topics. So he hits it from
Is
different
that the-
angles
is that
using
the-
those stories.
Is that the journey of the soul?
Journey of Souls,
Both of
Destiny
them.
of Souls,
Yeah.
and something else
Okay.
probably about souls, and then his
Yeah.
disciples or his institute made another thing where they do it a little differently. They summarize a story and then bring the lessons, but they don't go through all the transcriptions. Because
Okay.
if you listen to an audiobook, it's like, doctor, blah, 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 patient, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It gets a little tedious at
I don't know,
times,
I
you
was
know?
eating it up.
Yeah.
I think I've started reading that one, The Journey of the Soul, and it's talking about like the in between,
Yeah.
like in between
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
What goes on in between lives?
Yeah, I didn't recognize his name, but when
Yeah,
I started, I was
Dr.
like,
Michael Newton.
Yeah. There's a video that's
We
not
watched some
tedious
of
at all
him recently too.
on YouTube that is by the protege of Dr. Brian Weiss, who pioneered this technique, Alba Weinman. And there's a woman that is under hypnosis, and she describes where she goes in between lifetimes. So it's very interesting. She actually describes in detail things that she doesn't have a clue about when she's in her alpha brain state, which is, what we are in now. I mean beta. But she will describe how she's processing souls. She has like a digital clipboard, if you will, with a device, and the gold turrets are like, over in Russia, those kinds of shapes. The whole building is gold, pure gold, and she's processing the souls as they come through the light, which is basically blasting your frequency and amplitude to resonate with the place that you are there in between lifetimes. That's what that black bright light is. And I think Lao Tzu said death or transitioning is just turning off that light because there's daylight now. You don't need that anymore. And so it's nothing to be afraid of. I know someone who was in her 90s. I was transitioning myself physically from South Florida to the Tampa area. And she was an old friend of my mom's. They went to Moody Bible Institute together in the 50s. And this woman knew my mom and everything. And she was really, really old. And she would sit in the same chair by the sliding glass doors, and she would talk about these people in the yard that she would see. And her daughter would be like, oh, I better get my notepad. She would document what her mother was seeing, who her mother was seeing. And they would come through the sliding glass doors and chat with her. She would describe what they were wearing in detail. And it was for like about a year that this happened. And then all of a sudden, she was gone. But she had these people that were
so they were
preparing
coming
her.
from the.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard of that before, maybe not typically that long of the time period, but I've definitely heard people kind of on their deathbed, basically, like seeing loved ones.
Yes. Yes, and it was comforting them and preparing them for their transition. Like, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just like turning off that light over there because you don't need it anymore. It's broad daylight now. And so if you can have some comfort from that, Meredith, I hope that it brings you that. You're welcome.
I actually, when my brother told me that news, it wasn't a big surprise. but I think it was mostly not a big surprise because my dad has been in my dreams like multiple times over a couple of week time period. Yeah, we've been having dream communications, and he's not somebody that I typically dream about. So it was like, So I kind of knew on some level that something was going on, and yeah, I didn't have really dream recall about what we were doing like at dream time, but I just knew that I'd been dreaming about him. So like,
yeah, it's good to have a dream journal by your bed on your nightstand, because I have trouble remembering. A lot of people have trouble, but I do have a dream weaver above my bed, which could possibly be another item to add to your gift shop. And it seems to help a lot, because
So
before
like a
Dreamcatcher.
Dreamcatcher, excuse me, yeah.
Okay.
And before I'd be like, I never dream, and if I do, actually we all dream, we just don't all remember. But I couldn't remember diddly squat before I got this thing and put it up on the wall, and it doesn't go with anything else in my room, but there you go. I'm gonna do it. I need help with Virginia Inner Mysteries profile. It's her business, and she said that I originated from the Pleiades and Andromeda. So that makes sense also with the characteristics of those kinds of people. And it's not black and white. All Pleiadians aren't all good. All Draconians are not all bad. It's just like black and white, whatever race, there's good and bad in every single kind of race. We just need to use our spiritual discernment to discern the difference between the two. And so I was very excited to get that information, and it is a gift to accelerate my evolution, because if I don't keep going forward, guess which direction I'm going? You're either going forward or you're going the other way. You're devolving instead of evolving. There is no sitting on the fence like Humpty Dumpty. You're either moving forward or backward. And that depends on our free will, which is the minuscule decisions, yes, no, underneath the umbrella of the divine will or divine ordered plan, which can be changed. You do have it set up before you incarnate according to soul contracts by Carolyn Miss and many other authorities. But you can be agile and on the fly change things once you incarnate. But it's only special circumstances that warrant any kind of, shall we say, contract change order on your soul contract. I used to work in purchasing and contracts years ago, electric utility, and they'd have to do a CCO, a contract change order on the contract. CCO time, this is major, we've got a major course correction that we've got to make, and you can do that because you are a sovereign being. We are all sovereign beings, and we have that authority. Before our lifetimes, and during our lifetimes, and after our lifetimes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, I'm Nicholas Sargent, and something I've been working with lately is experiential learning. And so I've been doing it kind of like in a sprint type of fashion. In the business world, you have sprints of say 2 weeks where you just really focus on something. So I'll get to the weekend and I'll purge the old week and I'll be like, what do I want to do? And it'll come to me. I want to do something. If it's just something in the normal, like, hey, what if I lived out of my car for a week? Or what if I, maybe it's more something spiritual, kept a dream journal for a week? Or I buy a tarot deck and learn how to use it. And just do it really concertedly for about a week and then just see, is that something I want to keep doing or not? Sometimes you do, but sometimes in life you just keep these extra layers and you keep building until you just get exhausted and you have to purge out a bunch of stuff. So when something feels like it's just not working anymore, get rid of it. Or if you want to do it in a different angle, something that you like to do, say tarot or whatever, and you're like, well, what if I did it this way or that way? or you take a class or something like that. So what's been working for me recently is just doing these 1 week sprints, and then I can focus, I can make a quick design, kind of stay consistent with it for a week, get to the weekend, maybe integrate, reflect on it, and then move on to something else.
Awesome. What's your message for the world?
I don't have one, but that was it.
That was
Yep.
it? It was a good one.
Maybe to sum it up, just get curious, so get curious about stuff, and maybe it'll lead to a goal that you put in that format that I just explained.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for all the knowledge. Can't wait to see you again.
Hi, I'm Rachel Annette of the Cook family, inventor of the first mobile app and smartphone, invented in October of 1997 when I was at IBM. Patent 7340411, filed February 28, 1998, granted March 4th, 2008. Believe it or not, and you can find the proof of how I invented that and how I patented it on Day of Discovery blog.wordpress.com. That's https://dayofdiscoveryblog.wordpress.com, and you can see that on my portfolio page. And on my About Me page, it shows the 4 books that I've published, and links to Amazon.com, my publisher. And the message I'd like to say is just to be kind. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a light.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Patty Dunford, and my message to the world is to remember that together we are one. We are all part of one whole, great, huge being. And if we're separated, we're not okay. We need to get back together and become one again.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Robert Arana. I own Healing Heart Energy Therapy. I'm an intuitive energy healer. If it involves moving energy, it's something that I probably do, along with other gifts that I have, angels and spirit guides. If anybody, wants any of my services, you can see me out of Glow Healing Arts here in Salem, Virginia, or you can always, find me at healingheartenergytherapy.com, which is my website. And my message for the world, well, how about just some peace, love, and a little rock and roll?
I love it.
Music heals the soul.
Thank you so much, Rob.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Meredith. I'm the owner of Glow Healing Arts, located in Salem, Virginia. Welcome to our gift shop, where we sell lots of tarot and oracle cards, and we also have a lot of locally made artisan jewelry, artwork, prints, all kinds of great stuff. Glow, we are a holistic wellness and community center. We have a lot of classes, workshops, events. Tonight we just finished up with our Tuesday night group called Awakening Community. That is a free discussion group, meets every Tuesday at 6:30. We also have practitioners that see clients doing one-on-one sessions, everything from massage, reflexology, Reiki, all kinds of other energy medicine. So we have that component of our business, and we'd love to see you here sometime. And our Venmo is at glow-healing-arts.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you for being a light and for welcoming so many people into this wonderful space so that they can heal their hearts and shine.
Aw,
Thank you. I love you.
love you.
I'm going to take a quick tour. These are prints by Jessie Lundy. Her artwork is incredible. We love it. She is, this is the 611, which is a famous train in our city, Roanoke, Virginia. And this is actually some art of our city, Roanoke, Virginia. That is our star. There is our Dr. Pepper sign. There is, what's St. Patrick's Cathedral? Is that right? It looks like a castle. It's really famous here. I should know the name of it. But it is, but her artwork is amazing. And then everything here is so affordable. I mean, she has Palo Santo for $3. Look, she has selenite for $4. And what's so impressive is she has more angel and tarot and oracle cards than anyone that I know of. There's so many. There's some more Jessie art right here. So, thank you guys for watching my video and for allowing me to speak about Glow Healing Arts. And I hope if you're ever in the area, you stop by and say hi. Bye.